Hey y'all. So I'm not ready to unveil the new intro yet because my background's not completed yet. So I am going to play the old one just to give people some time because I'm a minute early too, and then I can pull up what I need to get ready.
You're beautiful but unsatisfied since day one. You were getting teased and it scarred you when you were young. Now you're getting older and you've been on the grind. Your paper off the scale so you feel like it's time. So you got a nose job, that's the primary thing. People teased you as a kid and for some reason you hit. Always into high fashion, girl, you heavy like lead. Liposuction out your shell like a chicken and egg. Feeling confident but now you're becoming obsessed. First your nose, then your weight, now your butt and your breast. It's a vanity fair, cosmetic overdose. Fiending for a next operation like it was dope. Now you feel the need to skin pill, your skin's no good. But if those around you were real, they'll tell you the truth. Just because you spending thousands, that don't make it alright. Had one problem, now it's many going under the knife. Your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, looking your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. I said your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, looking your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. Come on. Vanity Fair, yeah. Changing one or two things cool, girl, do you? Do you wanna be beautiful and look like you? Or do you wanna look like someone you saw in a magazine or video, but not in the raw? I like nice shaped bodies, bikinis Brazilian, but too much of anything just isn't appealing. Some people spend a lifetime, even a million. No grace like those unhappy when chilling. A girl with a big butt, big lips, small hips is what we all love to see, and men dream about this. There is nothing wrong with getting something broken fixed. Some women get a breast job cause cancer exists. Some women want to please their man and insist. And a woman really loves you if she wants to do this. But abuse ain't the same as intention with care. So be careful of the drug called the Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair. Your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, looking your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. I said your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, looking your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. Your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, looking your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. I said your lips, breasts, butt, legs, waist, hips, nose and chest, waistline, facelines, look at your best. Do it like the rest, Vanity Fair. Come on.
Almost beat it. Hi y'all. Happy Thursday. I remember what night it is actually. Shocking. I need one of those slidey mats under my chair because I'm on carpet, so I don't move anymore. I'm like stuck over here every time because half the time I want to sit back. Anyways, hey Cutie Pie, hey Brittany, hey Notre Dame, hey T, Mimi of 8, Rockabit, Freeside, Sheila. Okay, y'all, buckle up because I'm going to try to not make this long. I'm going to try to keep it to around an hour. And the reason I want to do that is because I know I'm really off schedule time-wise. So I know we're not going to have very many live viewers, but I want to keep it short and condensed so the rewatch viewers will rewatch it because I keep getting asked, why is this so important to you for you to cover? Because it's scandal. And secondly, misinformation is something I'm very passionate about. The cult followings, the misinformation, the fact that influencers around us in this arena, such as, I've said it a million times, BHB, Annie Elise, Olivia, all promoted this movie. Yeah, is it a movie? Yep. Okay. But the way it was promoted and they advertised this movie was very self-serving. They all got kickbacks from it. And it was in these arenas, like when you have a true crime creator promoting extreme propaganda that is actually harmful to actual trafficking victims, like the money that should go into trafficking victims to legit organizations is being thrown at this organization, and millions of dollars went to nothing. And you don't have to take my word for it. You're going to hear so much today and over the next period of time. What they have done is they have manipulated everybody. And again, these aren't even my words at this point in time. There is other people claiming that faith manipulation was a part of this whole process. It is also being rumored currently. It is not confirmed yet. Should be supposedly, if it's true, in the next few days, but it was broke on John Delen's Mormon Stories podcast today that there is very good reason to believe that the church finally did excommunicate him fully. Hey, Spendig. Hey, Am. Hey, Tayo. I'm going to screw that up. Ty? Is it Ty? You live in Utah. There's a lot of people running with the whole thing that this is politically motivated, that the timing of it all is politically motivated. Really, it has nothing to do with it. Potentially the fact that it's being done now to get in front of it, maybe. But I think this has been a slow train that just picked up pace. And now all sorts of news organizations are involved. So before it was, they could, downplay all of this because it was Vice News, right? Vice News was the one that, they're a problem. So in the LDS, they have done a lot of pieces on the Mormon stories and things around the Mormon LDS religion. So they're easy to discredit for fellow Mormons and other people that are, I would say, more conservative leaning, let's put it that way, because they report on some socially, I don't even know what you would call it. They just report on what's going on in society, and people don't like that. People don't appreciate that. And so it discredits them. So now that the church's own newspapers are covering this, there's finally getting traction to it. And people are starting to come out and finally say, okay, look, I was a part of this. Now I've got some major questions, because if they excommunicated him, I'm going to need the church to provide actual reason why he was excommunicated. And if he was excommunicated for those reasons, when it was mentioned previously, like years ago, why didn't they do anything about it then? And I'm also going to need to know, if he's being excommunicated, then aren't the other guys that were part of all of these same missions and ops, as they call them, getting excommunicated too? Or is it just because he supposedly used Elder Ballard's name to make this okay? I don't know. There's a whole lot here that's just unraveling, and it's like a snowball effect. Thank you. Hey, rapper. Yeah, Amethyst is like, this is just, yeah, yes. And we've got so many pieces to go through it too. There's actually another thing that's going on right now too. OUR, which is Operation Underground Railroad, who Tim is no longer a part of. They are raising money for a really odd, the whole thing just looks really weird. And we're going to get into that too. I don't know if we'll hit on that tonight or not, because there's so much to get through. But this is where we're going to start. So we are going to start with Tim's own. This is from 4 days ago. This is from Tim Ballard Official. So I want him to claim. Now, remember what the alleged allegations are, is there was sexual misconduct, inappropriate behavior. Hey, Helen. That is the allegation that came out against and has been leveraged against him. So here is his first response. Let's go.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about a very important undercover tactic that we use. It involves,
remember, undercover tactic.
Female operators. I don't like to give away tactics, because by doing that, it puts people at risk, and maybe we rescue less kids. But based on the allegations that are flying around and the questions being asked, we've decided that it's better to tell you these tactics so that we can preserve the vehicle that continues to rescue children. And so
that continues to rescue children, the vehicle that continues to rescue children. Now, again, y'all know that I'm a big numbers gal, and they quote a lot of stats, but there is no proof to back up any of the statistics that they shoot out. And we're going to get into that too, because one of the other guys finally kind of spills the beans that they're definitely overinflated, which most people with a brain knew. But these are powerful words that he's choosing to use. And he's saying, we decided to come out and get ahead of it. Basically, it's self-preservation. This isn't about anybody but Tim at this point, and that's what he needs to be speaking on. He doesn't care about any of the other people, but again, you don't have to take my word for it. You're going to hear his own.
So I'm going to tell you, and while I do so, I'm going to pay homage, respect, love, and gratitude for these female operators who serve such an important role, maybe the most important role in rescue operations. You need to understand that children don't just fall out of the sky. They don't fall into your desk. It's a very proactive work, and it's dirty and it's ugly, and nothing about it could possibly relate to the world that the rest of us live in. Going undercover to find children is wading through a sewer.
The way he sensationalizes this is very harmful to actual trafficking, because a lot of it is right in front of our faces and we don't even recognize it because of people like him who make it something it isn't. He makes it into this big production that this is just so grimy in the pits of hell. You don't know where they're going. No, they're going to popular tourist areas. They're seen as wealthy white men who have some money to spend on of age or not even minors at times. He makes it into this big production, and that is harmful to the actual mission of trafficking because he's making it something that people can't even recognize. And it's being missed right on around us all the time. And that's the truth.
These children are found in places like strip clubs, brothels, dirty spas, places where high-end escorts are controlling the situations, traffickers. So if I am a man or one of my operators walks into one of these places and is approached by a trafficker trying to put a child to service on that person, or a sex worker, and that man, now you think about this, and that man, that operator doesn't partake of what's being offered, they lose credibility, they're kicked out of the place, and no one's going to get rescued. And so we came up with a concept that we call the couple's ruse, or the couple's tactic, where you go in together pretending to be a husband or wife or boyfriend, girlfriend. Now you go in.
So again, allegations came out that there was sexual misconduct with at least 7 women was the first number that was given. There's not actual facts to back up how many women are behind these allegations. But I'm sure as time goes on, and actually the attorney representing the alleged victims is going to make a statement here in just a minute. We'll go over that. But he's being accused of misconduct with former employees or operatives of OUR. So now that these accusations have been levied, he comes out and says that this is all just a tactic that's used. He was not guilty of anything. These are just tactics that are used. This is a deep one.
And one of you could pretend that, yes, I want to partake in this sex act with this woman or this child, but I can't because my girlfriend won't let me, but maybe we can do it later. So is that cool? Like, let's keep talking and she'll warm up to it eventually. That's one idea. There's 100 different ways to do it, but the bottom line is we block for each other. So the trafficker sees the situation, recognizes that I have every excuse not to partake, and he won't kick me out. And now I have the opportunity to build rapport, to get more intel, to dig deeper. It has worked. Hundreds, maybe thousands of children on my watch have been rescued using this amazing tactic.
Yet there is absolutely zero proof that a single child was captured, rescued, trafficking victim in any age by this tactic. There is no proof to back up his claims at all. But he's just, you know, he's got the hell of a story he's got here going.
But it hurts. It beats you up. I just listened to my wife on Rod Arquette last night, and I cried as I listened to what she was saying. That it requires great healing. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I'm grateful to tell you that we draw lines. We have rules.
Notice the cuts that have already happened in the video?
Very specific rules. So we keep our morality and my faith, keep my covenants that I made with my wife. And I have. And so I want to thank all of you who have sacrificed, men and women who have sacrificed so much. I know what you're dealing with because I deal with it. And now's the time for me to heal. The Sound of Freedom has made it impossible for me to do operations anymore because it got too big, and it probably saved my life. As I've had these talks.
It probably saved his life that he made a movie funded by the public off of donations because people thought this was a factual account of his life and what he's done to help all these victims, which maybe had a 5%, according to Lynn Packer's reporting, maybe 5% of the main plot was real. But yet people have been promoting this movie as true accounts. And you ask them where they're getting their sources or their information or the stats on the numbers that they quote, or how can you back up these claims? And you get nowhere.
Talks over the last several weeks with these amazing, heroic female operators. They want their voices heard. They want you to know what it's been like for them working with me and other operators.
Oh, so now there's going to be female ops coming out in defense of him against, again, damage control for his image, because 7 allegedly victims of the sexual misconduct allegations came out and have made it clear that there's problems here. And that departure from OUR was because of internal complaints against Tim. So a lot of people knew a lot of stuff was going on a long time ago. And now you're watching everybody scatter like freaking little spiders and ants, getting away from Tim, picking a side. It's really interesting, but it's all in his image control. Remember, he's supposed to be announcing a Senate seat run on October 10th because a psychic told him that Nephi had the... I can't make this shit up, to be honest.
You, the supporters, you, the donors, it's time for you to look under the hood. And you can make your decision about these tactics. But I want to pay homage to these female operators. I want to give them their opportunity to tell their story and bear their witness to the amazing work that they have done working with our teams.
So in other words, what he wants to do is diminish their stories, of the ones that are not pleased with what happened during their time working with OUR. He's trying to diminish their credibility by covering his own ass. That's kind of what I see.
So please, over the next several days, listen to their testimonies.
Oh, don't worry. We're listening to every bit of it, Tim.
Listen to the work they've done and thank God for them, for rescuing these children. Hey guys,
he is such an utter creep. This guy. Oh no, you changed your username. That sucks. That sucks when you get stuck like that. Hey, everybody coming in. If I missed anybody, hey, Reese Cup. Hey, Love in the Laundry. Hope you guys, hey, Cool Gamer. Hope you guys are all having a great night. Okay, now we're going to continue on, though, because this just gets worse and worse and worse as it goes. So now we're going to go to it just booted me right out. Magic. I did magic trick. It totally like, poof, now you're gone. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? I did disappear. It was a disappearing act. You guys didn't know I could do magic. All right. That's what you get when you deal with these people. Okay, so now we're going to the Salt Lake Tribune. And this is what they released today. So it says Tim Ballard engaged in sexual harassment, spiritual manipulation, alleges lawyer representing former OUR employees. Operation Underground Railroad said Thursday that Ballard was immediately placed on administrative leave while it investigated the sexual misconduct allegations. Okay, carrying on. An attorney who said she represents several former OUR employees said Thursday that her clients were subjected to sexual harassment, spiritual manipulation, grooming, and misconduct at the hands of Tim Ballard, the anti-human trafficking organization's founder and former head. The women lodged complaints with OUR's leadership team several months ago, leading to an internal investigation, according to the attorney Suzette Rasmussen. We now stand together to affirm the truth behind these allegations, Rasmussen said, reading from a prepared statement at a news conference on the steps of the Utah Capitol. In a statement Thursday, Operation Underground Railroad said Ballard was immediately placed on administrative leave while it investigated its allegations. At the conclusion of our investigation, as previously stated by OUR, Mr. Ballard resigned. The statement said Mr. Ballard's alleged misconduct does not represent OUR's values or others within the organization, which aims to combat child sex trafficking worldwide. A spokesperson for Ballard declined to comment. Ballard had previously denied engaging in any sexual misconduct. In a video posted Monday, he asserted that at times female operatives posing as his wife or significant other engaged in a couple's ruse. Can you smell the bullshit? So that undercover operatives had an excuse not to engage in physical contact with children that were allegedly being sex trafficked. Vice News first reported that women who went on operations with Ballard said he coerced them into sharing a bed or showering together to sell the rolls. Our involvement with Operation Underground Railroad was rooted in our commitment to fighting against human trafficking, Rasmussen read Thursday from a statement on the women's behalf. But while engaging in that noble cause, we were subjected to sexual harassment, spiritual manipulation, grooming, and sexual misconduct. Rasmussen would not provide additional details about the identities of the women making the accusations, the number of women she represents, the nature of Ballard's alleged misconduct, whether they had spoken with law enforcement about the matter, or if they planned to sue. Though we value our privacy as we work to rebuild our lives, we also feel a responsibility to speak out and state unequivocally that these allegations are true, Rasmussen said. We acknowledge the risks involved in challenging someone as prominent as Tim Ballard. We will reveal our stories in our own time and on our own terms. But for now, we choose to remain anonymous. Earlier this week, Eric, I think it's Mustos, a prominent Utah libertarian, I'm getting tongue-tied, posted a video on his Instagram account stating that he had spoken to multiple women who told him that they had been victims of manipulation and sexual predatory behavior. We will be watching that. I have it all loaded up. Not for this one, but we are going to get into it because it's like 30 minutes in itself. And he's not the only one that just recently came out either. Just a side note. Mustos, by the way, he's a former cop in Utah, said that the women he spoke with alleged. I give up tonight. Eric said that the women he spoke with alleged that Ballard engaged in systematic grooming tactics that resulted in a range of sexual activity. Eric said that he was told that Ballard persuaded the women to participate in part by playing the women's desire to help children and telling them it was condoned by M. Russell Ballard, the acting president of the Quorum of 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The two men are not related, which we all know. When asked Thursday about President Ballard condoning Tim Ballard's alleged grooming tactics, church spokesperson Doug Anderson pointed to the Faith's earlier statement, which condemned the OUR founder for unauthorized use of President Ballard's name, for Tim Ballard's personal advantage and for activity regarded as morally unacceptable. If you notice my thumbnail, Tim on the couch in his little undies, there's a reason for that. Ooh. On Tuesday, Tim Ballard posted another video insisting that we are under attack. He alleged that all sorts of falsehoods were being directed at him because he is fighting against evil. I am faithful to my wife and to my God, and that is the truth, he said. You can believe whatever you want, but I'm telling you that this is the truth. At Thursday's news conference, Rasmussen said she believes there are several other women she is not currently representing who were also victims of Ballard's but have not come forward, and she encouraged them to do so. Rasmussen earned her law degree at church-owned BYU and worked in former Governor Gary Herbert's office and for the World Trade Center, Utah, before joining the firm of Freeman Lovell, where she is a partner. Now, if you don't understand, that is a huge thing. So an attorney who graduated from BYU, who more than likely is a member of the LDS Church, is coming out because she represents the victims against one of the most prominent faces of LDS in these fight for human rights movements, such as Tim Ballard. That's a big deal. That's a big deal that she's LDS, in my opinion. Again, if you know how all of this works, sorry, you guys, I gotta let the dog out. If you know how that all of these inner workings work within the LDS Church, that's a big deal, y'all. That's a real big deal. Hey, y'all coming in. Hey, Nada. Hey, did I say hi, y'all? I don't know if I did or not. Hey, Shopaholic. Who else did I miss? This is so deep, Rockabit. This is so deep. Hey, Britt. No, that's Swindig. So that's the big piece of all of this, is because he's supposedly, Mitt is supposedly, retiring. He's not running again. So Tim was going to be announcing his Senate run, and Tim is already in the political circles in Utah. So it's a big deal. Oh shit, loving the laundry. Sorry. Hey, Grandma Sherry. Sorry, y'all. I'm popping back up to read these comments because this shit is so deep, y'all. Oh, Reese, gotcha. Hey, Aurora. I can't talk tonight, y'all. Okay. So now what we're going to do, I know we're kind of all over, you guys. There's so many pieces to this. So many pieces. So we'll do a video on the Eric stuff. There is a bunch of his operatives that worked with him. So Eric's a former cop out of Utah. But there's another one that came out, and that might even be bigger. Oh, by the way, if you're on X, there's a great page to follow called Tim Ballard Exposed. That's where I stole the picture from for my thumbnail of him laying on the couch. Just wait till you hear the story and the excuses he gives for that photo. You're going to shit your pants. So we got that interview to get through. We've got the wife is where we're headed now. She gave a statement. There is so much damage control going on. And then, like I said, the rumor mill is spreading. Well, John Dehlin announced, and John Dehlin is probably one of the most credible anti-Mormon, but still such an ally of a lot of Mormons. He's just John's very fact basis, no matter what it is. There's a lot of people that don't like him. All the apologists, such as Fair Mormon and stuff, which I actually enjoy some of those guys. I think some of them are really funny, but they are definitely lost in the sauce. There's a lot of lost in the sauce. Okay, give me 1 minute. Let me pull up this video. Got to pull up the next one. Y'all, there's just this has been all I have been watching. It has been so insane. Why do I have ads? I have premium. I shouldn't be having ads on here. Oh, never mind. The ads are on the podcast. So that's what he did. He took the podcast. So they went on an AM talk radio show, the Rob Arquette podcast, and an AM talk show. And Katherine, who is Tim's wife, was brought in part of the damage control. So let's go to this. Share this tab instead. Make sure you guys can see it. Okay, we're good there. Oh, date. Hold on. Let me tell you the date. So this is from 3 days ago, again, from Tim Ballard official. He wants these things shared, obviously. He wants his story told. So again, this is all for educational and entertainment purposes only, based on my opinion and all of this commentary falls under the fair use. So Timmy boy, if you start striking people, you've been asking us to tell your story. I'm just telling it factually instead of with all the fluff and circumstance and the bullshit that you've added to your versions of everything. Because over here, misinformation is harmful to actual victims. And when you use influencers on social media to push your insane propaganda for lining your own pockets and a bunch of your buddies, I've got a problem with it. See, I went from like the Molly Go Lightly into like the big manipulation, but it's all the same shit, y'all. This is manipulation, faith manipulation, emotional manipulation. It's all of it. He was once a Molly that just kept building the ranks because he was promoted from within, when within means the LDS church. Are you guys following me so far? I know I get really passionate about this stuff and I start talking with my hands. That's the North Dakota in me, sorry. But y'all, I have been so entrenched in this stuff. It has been amazing to watch. Like I've been like over here, like giddy little schoolgirl, you can tell. Oh, absolutely, Aurora. Absolutely. It is what it is. I did, because if you start, there has been so much rumbling about all of this stuff for so long. And there were so many questions that when I went to research, I actually thought OUR was a great organization. And then I realized Tim was involved. Like we didn't know when I first started this whole rabbit hole. I had promoted OUR in the past. Like I had no idea of the influence or the connection or any of this. So living in Utah, as the stuff starts getting brought out, you hear these names too. Like these are local heroes in Utah of what the perfect Mormon should be, right? They are household names. It's gross how much these people are actually kind of worshipped. And it is unbelievable. So when that movie came out, and then I watched the pirated, of course, version on YouTube, and I started realizing the stories and digging deeper and stuff. Then I saw people like Annie and BHB promoting this, and you could watch the engagement in those posts versus like their typical engagement was completely out of sorts. But that also comes from like the QAnon involvement and stuff like that too, because there's a lot of that. Okay, let's go. So again, this is his wife, Katherine's take on the recent controversy from the Rob Arquette podcast, which is posted on Tim Ballard official.
Right, it's Friday on Talk Radio 105.9 KNRS.
And I can't get rid of any advertisements or anything that he's got in here, so we're just going to have to listen through it. Sorry, guys.
Certainly has been, it's probably an understatement, a unbelievable week for Tim and Katherine Ballard and their family, of course. Everything that transpired last Friday and what's been going on all this week. Tim has been out doing one of his freedom tours back in the Boston and Washington, D.C. area. I got a call the other day asking from the people who work with the family if Katherine could come on my show and kind of give us her take on what's going on and how this is impacting her family. And she is joining us right now in studio on the Rod Arquette Show. Katherine, how are you? Thank you for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for letting me come on. And this is new for me. People that know me know that I'm not exactly in my comfort zone here. But by
the way, to be a good LDS wife, remember, it takes somebody that's subservient, and this isn't across the board, but for somebody in his position, there was one of two options. Come out and admit that she was done with him and divorce him and lose all of the financial support, all the money, have all those kids to support on her own, or she has to stand by her man. And I hate to even say this because I know so many Mormons that are amazing people, that are genuinely like the best people, that have normal functioning relationships, that don't do this bullshit, that don't believe in this bullshit. They let their wives talk. They have, a partnership, not a dictatorship. Like, it is not across the board. But in Utah, the ideal wife is to be seen, not heard. And that's just the truth of it. And if you know about Joseph Smith's wrongdoings and all that stuff, which we can get into someday too, you know that that's like the foundation of it. So she had two options and neither one of them are good. They suck. Yeah, this is, brainwashed. Abso-freaking-lutely. Hey. Oh, yeah. Tammy Wynette. Yes, absolutely. But it's just like, and I part of my heart breaks because no matter what this situation is, she's losing something. Now, did she know? We're going to see. Or we're going to see what she says. Could she be a victim of him? Absolutely. So I want to go into this with consideration to the fact that she could be a victim like herself. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. She didn't have the best opportunity here to come out and really, either way, she's losing a whole lot. No matter what happens, it's a shitty situation. Absolutely shopaholic. And it is bad enough, the decompression state from coming out of a cult, which she's not doing, obviously. But to have your husband involved in something like this, like we've seen so many of them stand by crazy things and go along with it. And it's, I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of watching Kevin, like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Like ignorance is bliss in some ways for these people, which I know Kevin is totally different, but it's like one of those things where it's almost like the less they know, the better off for them. I hate to say that, but that's kind of a...
I just felt that I needed to stand out in support of Tim and my family and just give people something to hold on to as we navigate.
Aurora is completely right too. For those of you that don't know or that are not ex-Mormon, it is like to undo the teachings that have been indoctrinated into a lot of people's lives is a grief process. It is absolutely grief. And it is so hard for so many ex-Mormons because they lose their entire identity. They don't even know who they are because their identity is made around being this perfect Mormon. It's sad.
These very difficult times.
Let me, the obvious question would be, of course, how are you doing? And then how is Tim doing?
I totally understand that. And I also think she is very shady, Kimberly, because of her involvement with the adoption organizations. I am not saying that she is an innocent victim 100% whatsoever. I'm saying I don't know. So I reserve judgment because I also know that this was what I expected of her. I didn't expect any different, honestly. She's obviously taken a backseat to him for quite some time. So, and yeah, she's got her own shady shit involvements. Let me be honest. I don't think she might be a victim of his and some brainwashing, but she is abso-fucking-lutely 10 toes in on a lot of the bullshit. So she could have known too. Like we just don't know enough. So I'm going to try to give grace. If you're new here, I'm usually pretty brutal. So that's why like me saying I'm like going to be kind of nice is probably just not calling her an effing a-hole 15 times. I might only do it 5. And welcome in if you are new here.
We are trying to be strong. I don't know.
Yes.
I can't say we're doing great. We're not doing terrible. There are moments.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been sleeping super great, but we're holding strong.
Mm-hmm. You have a large family, 10 children,
9
children. How are they doing? And what have they, how have you talked to them about everything? I mean, they have to hear the news. Friends are saying, hey, what's going on with your dad? They have to hear the news. How do you talk to them and how do they handle this?
Well, first I want to say thank you to everyone that has been so kind. We haven't gotten to the part where anyone has harassed me or the children.
Mm-hmm.
And
think back, hold on, instantly. Think back to when Tim was outside that monument in Boston and he was ranting and raving about how his family was being harassed. So which one of them's telling the story? And yes, that was previous to this. So she's saying her and the children haven't been harassed. Tim said in his interview when he was in Boston, when all this started to come out, that his family was being harassed. So can you pick a lane here? That would be great.
They've been going to school every day, and anyone that approaches them has just offered comfort, support, just saying, we're so sorry for what your guys are going through. Do you need anything? I've had countless friends reaching out to me, texting me, coming over, just offering love and support. And so first, I just want to say thank you to everyone out there that has been so kind and compassionate, and it has meant so much to us. As far as how are the kids processing the news? Well, different ones know different things.
Mm-hmm. Depending on their age.
Depending on their age and what they're exposed to. And so the older they are, the more in tune they are with.
Are you guys okay with me speeding this up? Let me see if I can speed it up to 1.25. I will also turn subtitles on and hope that maybe helps if anybody is hearing impaired.
What's going on? And they're just all kind of looking to me because I'm here and Tim's not home, and they're looking to me saying, Mom, is everything okay? And I'm saying, guys, it's going to be fine.
The older children, those are probably the toughest discussions to have. Is it not, Katherine? With the older children Definitely. Who probably understand a lot more than their younger brothers and sisters?
Definitely. We've had a lot of deep conversations.
So currently it's still just rumored. There's nothing that's been publicly proven that he was excommunicated. They state that he did go before a council. This is the rumor that's going around. If Tim is excommunicated for whatever wrongdoing against the doctrine of the church, which would, in my opinion, be, the sexual misconduct, if there was facts behind that, or the church deemed that there was proof to it, anything of that nature. So if he was excommunicated for moral indignation, basically, she wouldn't be. So they would handle the situations. It's very unlikely that they would do both at the same time. But the fact that she's standing by, it's so tricky because they're doing things that I've never seen them do before, publicly coming out and shaming him before he claims he even knew about it, and then jumping to excommunication. There's a lot here to unpack. So if he was factually, if it's proven, which I'm sure it will be, that he was excommunicated, it'll be interesting because they've been doing things that I'm not. It's a little unpredictable right now, to be honest. It really is. I can't tell you myself what to expect next. I didn't expect this. I'll be honest. I'm not no psychic or a predictor of the future. And I told Kyle, it's like going to the fair and winning those impossible prizes and getting the big one. I was shooting for something here because I knew this stuff was too good to be true. And the bullshit that the influencers were pushing, I knew we were going to hit something and get a prize out of it, right? Not a prize, but that we were right. We were on to something, but I had no clue that it was going to go to this level or this extreme. And the reactions of other people have been mind-blowing to me. So anyways, okay, let's continue on. As long as you guys can pick up the volume still, make sure you let me know. If it's too fast, I can slow it back down, but I'm rambling a lot because, like I said, I hate to feel giddy about this, but people like him need to be outed. This is harmful to actual trafficking victims, and he is a stain on the LDS church. Let's be honest.
I saw a clip of Tim, and my guess is probably 5 or 6 years ago, where he said, concerned that people were coming after him or things were happening in his life, and he was struggling with dealing with that. With all this is going on, how long do you think this has been going on, Katherine?
Well, for some reason, when you decide to go against sex trafficking, people come out to attack you on that. We didn't think that would be such a divisive venture, but it has been. And
okay, one more thing, sorry, just to fill in some gaps here, because I know we have a lot of non-Mormons and not really really up to date on the Mormon doctrine or how things go. So this weekend is also General Conference. I posted, if you're a part of my members group, you can see Kyle and I when we went to General Conference when we were living in Utah. It was actually a really interesting experience. Me and Kyle talked about it today, looking back on it, to Mormons, to people, the Mormon LDS faith, that is the Super Bowl of all things within their year. they look forward to that. They don't have services on the weekend, but they're blasted on TV. They stay home. They come around and give these big primary flyers, which if you don't know what primary is, that is basically their Sunday school. So they do these like color books for the kids to keep engaged. And it's all about the doctrine and, you know, their belief systems and the Book of Mormon. And like this whole, it's a family event and people scalp tickets outside and there's protesters across the street. But then there's also like all of the, it's a big deal. So this coming out right now and getting so much attention, the Salt Lake Tribune has done an article on this for the last 3 days straight, plus videos, plus Fox News, plus Deseret News. Everybody is covering this right now. So General Conference is in the news too, with all of like the teachings. And Tim is right next to that. That's a big freaking deal. So of the millions of Mormons, this is being talked about in households around the nation, around the world. And those children are dealing with the repercussions of all this fallout. Because no matter if they're excommunicated or not, the embarrassment and shame of having your father be excommunicated, when kids are excommunicated for coming out as LGBTQ, it is such a shameful thing for their families that half the time the families separate and those kids lose their parents because they pick the church over their actual kids. Like this is so deep and so fucked up in so many ways. I can't even explain it. Anyways, okay, back to the story. See, I'm passionate about this stuff. I'm like,
and I don't know what to say to say. I'm not trying to claim that it's all orchestrated and, you know, some one big person is behind it all. It's just, it's been a battle as we've tried to stay the course on this mission. It's been a battle.
You know, we've had Tim on the show before. I've heard him speak before. It's an ugly, ugly business that he is involved in. How do you deal with that? And has he ever sat down and talked to you about all of this and what it takes to do what he has to do?
Well, when he was an agent, at first he would tell me more details about what was going on, what was involved. And then he realized pretty quickly that was not helpful for me. The women, sorry to be a generalistic person, but women process things differently than men. And he learned, okay, we don't need details. You just say a child is being hurt. I'm going to go rescue. It's this level dangerous. I'm not naive. I know that it's a dark world. And he has had to play the role of very dark people to bring about these rescues. And frankly, that has taken a toll on Tim. And you ask me how Tim's doing. He needs to heal. He's been sacrificing his life, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, time-wise. He's given everything to the rescue of children. And it has been really tough on him. He needs to just heal.
So I can already feel the next buildup and excuses are going to be the trauma for the job. When it comes out that it's confirmed that these allegations are true and real, then it's going to be the cause. That is what caused the trauma, and the trauma from the job and doing these high stressful missions, which some of his operatives that were on these missions completely say it's different than this, which we will get into. But he's got a built-in excuse going here. If you don't see the PR stunts here, like it's, he's got to heal the trauma of this. And I'm not saying that there's not traumatic stuff that goes on in these. But when you actually hear the numbers and the statistics of how many people they've rescued and what they've actually been successful at doing, it's pretty much the same as law enforcement. They have and see the ugly side of the world. That's what their job is. It does take a toll on them, but it still doesn't give you an excuse to exploit your operatives, allegedly, and manipulate them into sexual acts to pretend for your own rocks. Like that doesn't, but I can see where this is headed. Yeah, he's always the victim. Tim is always the victim. I'm saying, like, these are the same people we deal with in this arena of like the true crime and the bad actors. He's just on a bigger platform. But this is how they start off here. And then they're elevated over time as this, thing. But he really got in because of the LDS Church.
One of the issues that I've had with all of this, since, news broke about this last Friday and more details have come out, what frustrates me more than anything is the process. And you have allegations with no evidence, but the in this country, we believe you're innocent until proven guilty. Mm-hmm. But in this case, and there are other cases like this as well, that you're guilty until you have to prove your innocence. Does that bother you the way this whole process, Katherine?
Well, yeah, we were blindsided by this.
Bullshit, because these allegations have been running around for years. There has been rumblings of things. It has only been recently that there's been things that have came out and been proven more so, and it's directed this direction because of people like Vice and Lynn Packer who have held the pressure and continued to point out the facts. But BS, there was misconduct allegations a long time ago, and people started paying attention.
I just talked about how there's always attacks, but this was very unexpected, very abrupt and vicious the way it was done. It was very hard as the wife and mother of a big family to have my family thrown so unkindly into the public spotlight.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You mentioned a moment ago that Tim realized early on there was a certain amount of information that he would share with you, and that you felt like you didn't need any more. Did you feel at any time that I really want to know what's going on here, Tim? Sit down and talk to me about what you're having to go through, because he went into some very dangerous situations, I would imagine.
Yeah. I felt like I knew he would say enough. He would say little pieces. I knew what was going on. I know what it takes. I know what it takes to be undercover in a dark world. I'm not confused about what that means. He's going to have to say some bad words. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to say some disgusting things. He's going to have to say some bad words. Honey, this is a lot more than saying some bad words. This is called showering naked, having couples massages, allegedly inappropriate touching with some of these operatives because he was using his position of power in ways allegedly. This is a lot bigger than just a few bad words. Can you get the fuck over it and grow the fuck up? Because I'll say enough bad words for us both, okay? This whole innocent bullshit, this is exactly what is to be expected from these people, but this is stand by your man. To pretend to look at some disgusting things. And that's actually really hard for people that loved him and see his spiritual side. That's really hard for them to process, especially in the
Kimberly,
Utah LDS culture type of, strong religious values that I love, that I cherish, that Tim loves and cherishes. It's hard to reconcile that then this man who is so great and loves God, now he's going to put on a different hat. He's going to go into really, really disgusting places. He's going to...
His love of God, again, manipulation tactics. His love of God excuses his poor acts.
Play the persona of a trafficker.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how he convinces bad guys, oh, we can trust this guy. Okay, bring out the kids. And that is how rescues happen. It's ugly. It's terrible. And I haven't been naive to the fact that means Tim has to say and do things that I never want to hear him say or do.
Mm-hmm.
And in some of the documentaries that have come out that shows little clips of him saying, I have to plug my ears. I have to be like, I know you do that, but I don't want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to keep you in this pretty little unblemished picture over here, but I'm not naive.
Wait, your husband's a hero, according to him and people like you around him. Wouldn't you want to know he's the sensationalized hero that has done all these things? Why wouldn't you want to know what he's doing? I mean, that's a little weird.
To the fact that he has had to do a lot of that.
And how much did he struggle with that personally? I mean, because he is a man of deep faith. I know Tim enough to know that his faith is very, very strong, but he has to do things to help these children that he wouldn't normally want to do. I mean, how did he reconcile that and be able to make that all work for himself and for you and your family?
Well, there were times when he was less successful at that and times when he was more successful at that. And it really had to do with how well he was coming home and taking time to decompress and focus on, let's write another book, or let's go on a speaking tour about goodness. And when he was able to balance that really well, then things were going better.
Mm-hmm.
But as everything has escalated and the attacks, and then at the same time, the exposure, the opportunities with governments reaching in and saying, we need you, you need to come do this.
Governments reaching out because they need you. I'm going to need proof of that, Katherine. You're writing checks that your ass can't cash. Where's the government's reaching out to get your services? Asking for a friend. Actually, I'm not. I'm asking for me. Where the fuck is the proof? You guys are not fans of providing sources of any of this information or factual evidence to back up any of these claims. So I'm assuming it's like the rest of them. Your spokespeople will never, ever get back to anybody that asks for actual factual statistics.
Come to this. And how do you say no to that? How do you say, I actually need to take a break? And as a wife, I'm looking at it going, I want you to take a break. I want you to be here and you need to heal. But then Tim's he really is, he's a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He can't see that, he can't know that kids are over there being victimized.
Fall is just around the corner and home is the center.
Can't be over there knowing that kids are being victimized. But yet, according to other operatives, they went to a lot of these places and never found any trafficking whatsoever. They'd spend 3 days there and then go on their merry way back home because there was nothing there. Yeah, there's a whole lot of BS going on here. Total typical response, kind of what we probably all expected, but I think it's just worse to hear it and see the damage control being done. Again, no right choice she had in this situation, whether she would have came out and said, I'm leaving that son of a bitch, the allegations are true. None of that. Like, no matter what way, she's pretty much in a bad spot. So, oh, hold on. I think they're back.
Actually, I'm not the right person for this right now, guys. But he just couldn't do that. And he just was like, well, I need to go. And I support him. I love him.
7 are their biologic children and 2 are adopted from Haiti, I think is where they are adopted from. Now, Katherine, the wife that's speaking, also has ties to a 501c and some other shell companies, 501cs that I think are just a whole bigger picture of a bunch of, in my opinion, scandalous behavior. Some money switching some weird spots, if you ask me, but she has a very deep connection to this. We'll get into that someday too. An adoption organization that bring kids from a lot of overseas and are placed with typically Mormon families.
So much. And I support him, but it has taken its toll. It's taken its toll.
Our guest is Katherine Ballard. Katherine, can you stay for a little bit? I need to take a break and then come back with some more questions for you.
Sure.
All right, more coming up here on the Rod Arquette Show and Utah's Talk Radio 105.9 KNRS.
Sorry, y'all. I'm going to let that play and keep it on mute for a second. And hopefully, well, let me just fast forward here. Hold on. Oh, yeah, they're going to get into the movie. Of course. How could we forget? Oh, of course, this is what it's really all about. Promotion for the movie.
Now, it's Katherine Ballard. Katherine, of course, her husband, Tim Ballard, and everything that has transpired, the events that have gone on in the last few weeks. Tim, of course, the movie Sound of Freedom, which I did see, Katherine, just for your, I imagine you did as well. Marvelous movie. I thought they treated the subject matter, which is very, very tough to treat, very, very well. And I thought Jim Caviezel did a great job in portraying your husband. So it was a marvelous movie. But, of course, this week, with everything that has gone on, you wanted to come on and talk about what has transpired. The statement from the LDS Church. I know that's a difficult subject for you to talk about.
Yes, Kimberly. Yes. I'm so glad some of you guys in here are very knowledgeable about this topic because, yeah, it is. Yeah. There are so many allegations here, and there's the whiteboard, going back to the whiteboard, which we have briefly shown over here and talked about a little bit, but the connection to all these places, the Nazarene Fund of Glenn Beck's, all of this stuff. Like, there's so much overlap here. It's unbelievable. Oh, love in the laundry. You know, that's very common. Like, this type of work does have significant trauma. There's a lot of PTSD. I'm not diminishing that whatsoever. it's just what we expected for them to make every excuse in the book. Now, I'm not saying he's never been on some, incredibly troubling experiences or a part of some operations that were terrible. He did work for the government, I think, for 10 years. But he just doesn't want to talk about facts ever. It's always he's the victim, he's the hero kind of thing. And everybody around him is really good at making him seem that way too. In fact, a lot of the guys that are actually coming out and being truthful now, just a couple days ago, were putting out the typical PR response from Tim's team on his behalf until they realized, oh shit, this is getting really deep.
But it seemed really unusual and rare that the church would make a statement like that. How close of a relationship, in fact, did Tim have with President Ballard? They had talked about this. He was supportive of what Tim was trying to do.
Yeah, Elder Ballard has been amazing. He actually reached out to us before we even moved to Utah because of a book that Tim had written. And it's actually a funny story. Tim walks into the office. He gets a call from Elder Ballard, the Elder Ballard. And he said, I want to meet you in my office. We freak out. We're thinking, what did you write in the book? We're going back and thinking, what happened? We're in so much trouble. And Tim was so scared that he actually brought his dad with him. We're from California. He brings his dad up with him to meet with Elder Ballard. And Elder Ballard actually thought that Tim's dad was the author. And then my father-in-law said, this is Tim Ballard.
Yeah.
And that started the relationship. And Elder Ballard has been so wonderful, so supportive, acting as unofficial counsel. Just, he would if Tim didn't schedule an appointment every month, he would call him and say, why haven't you come in? And we just treasured that relationship. It was such a gift, especially.
So they saw each other every month. That's interesting.
When really hard decisions were being made, like, do we start this nonprofit? Do we continue on in this cause? What is this all about? What do I need to be doing? And Elder Ballard, in just a really loving, grandfatherly way, acted as an unofficial counsel for us.
Did they drift apart at all? Did the relationship, does it remain strong today? How would you describe it today?
Well, I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to offend or be a stumbling block for anyone. Tim and Elder Ballard are very close.
She uses the term "are very close."
Every time we meet with him, Elder Ballard expresses his love for Tim. Elder Ballard is getting older, and he has a lot of health problems, and so he's not as around and available as he used to be.
No, they're not. Oh, I didn't listen to all this yet because I love to have a raw reaction. I knew some of it was what was in here because I did look through the transcript just to kind of get my feet wet, but you guys know where this is headed now? Oh, yeah. Love in the Laundry. Yeah. If it would have been too traumatic, they would have destined. And that's the thing. He only worked for the government for 10 years. And the rest of this was, the sad thing is he won't release his records, like his actual service records, to verify any of these stories that they've used for all this fundraising and money and the development of all these 501c. They have not been transparent on anything. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Love in the Laundry. It's just crazy to me. Like the stacked up stories upon stories upon stories here. It's wild. I hope your brother-in-law, is that what you said? Brother-in-law. Hold on. Your brother. I hope he's doing better now. And I hope that he's healed some. I know so many people have PTSD from traumatic events when in the military. It's heartbreaking. 22 a day, unfortunately.
And we just love and support him, and our prayers go out to him.
Whoa.
And the day that it became apparent that he was health struggling and getting older, and that he wouldn't always be there for Tim cried because the thought of trying to keep doing this without this loving man counseling him was, he knew that there's
pause, intermission. Kyle came in. He says, I have a glow on the top of my head. Look at his hair from swimming. His hair is sticking up every which way. He said that I have a glow on my head. I told him it's my halo. The horns are holding up my halo over here tonight. Sorry, y'all. We haven't got the lighting down or anything. I'm just excited and talking my my ass off, and he's all like, I gotta fix the lighting. Okay, back to task. Are you spying on me?
I put you on the big screen down there, and Alana's like, "Hi, Becky."
Oh, that's hysterical.
You know, he's mortal, and there was going to be an end to this council, unofficial council, and that's been hard.
I got a sense that there was concern that Tim was inappropriately using Elder Ballard's name and to promote Operation Underground Railroad or his business dealings.
Never.
When you heard that, what was your response? And what is your response now?
People are going to say whatever they want. It's the time that we live in. You can say whatever you want. And my response is, Tim never did that. He never did that. Tim was so careful about that relationship. And Elder Ballard was very careful about that relationship because
BS. They both used each other and were mutually beneficial to each other. And there was a lot of money involved with their mutual beneficial relationship, in my opinion.
He always told Tim, I don't want to hurt your organization by bringing the church into it. And I don't want the organization to hurt the church, vice versa, by being too open about this. But so they were both very careful. But of course, the LDS world is small within Utah.
Yeah.
So people.
What? Did you guys just hear what she said? Kimberly, she just said that the LDS community is small in Utah. No, more like the anti or the non-Mormon side is big. And even though it's like kind of becoming more of a like 50-50 split, it's still the entire state is ran by the LDS church. That's why I've always still been completely thrown off that Utah had medical marijuana on top of, you could get it delivered to your home. Like, cool. But the church runs everything in that freaking state. Even in public school system, they have such an influence.
Here, they hear that Tim meets with him. But we were always very careful to just say he just wanted to give us a blessing.
Yes, at certain levels. Yeah, status levels. Those that live in the colony in Park City and so on and so forth. Yes. Or the promontory. Yeah. But it's a big, like, the culture is huge. He's a household name. His circle is the upper echelon.
Talk about how things were going.
The allegations about the women. That, were you aware that women were going with Tim on?
Shopaholic. President Ballard is the president of the Quorum of the 12, and there's no relation to Tim Ballard. There is absolutely no relation between the two of them. So Tim Ballard is the OUR guy. President Russell M. Ballard is the president of the Quorum of the 12.
On these missions.
I am very aware of the couples ruse. I know. Is that a new word?
It may be.
Okay.
Aurora, I've been out of that area, the Salt Lake City area, for a month, and it's like the best feeling in the world. Let me just tell you, we moved out of there, and it's no looking back whatsoever. It is refreshing to be out of there. And the more I'm away, the more I realize like how much the church influences everything, and it's really disgusting, to be honest.
Okay,
Maybe
let me explain.
Yeah, explain it.
When you go undercover, if you are a single male walking into a strip club or that kind of environment, there are lots of women around that expect certain behavior by a single male. And Tim never wanted to engage in anything like that. And so he developed what he called the couples ruse. And I want to be careful. How young is your listening audience?
It's an older audience. We don't have children.
Okay, well,
and mom and dad, if you're in the car with your child right now, you may want to turn it down for a second. But go ahead and explain what he means by that.
So he developed a couples ruse. They did training on this. They never did this without training first. The idea is if Tim walks in with a female who's posing as his wife or his girlfriend or whatever, then they can pretend to be in the party scene. But when a adult woman or sometimes even a younger child is pressed upon them, she can swat him away or her away and say, no, that's for later. This is my man. No touchy right now. And it was just to play the role of we're setting up something that this is so awful, but it's an undercover world. We're setting up something that we both enjoy, but it's not right now. And this is my man. It was used to protect the men from having to engage in anything that would be compromising.
It was used to protect the men, yet the operatives that have spoke out said they never were trained in any of this. So far, the only person that I've heard be public about being trained in this tactic was Tim. So this tactic was developed for Tim and Tim only, but not the other ops, the male ones, but this was developed to protect the male operatives. I got questions, y'all.
With all these women and children are trafficking victims.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so the couple's ruse is to protect that.
Okay. The women would know this, that this was going to be taking place, correct? Who were working with him on these missions. They knew this ahead of time.
There was always training.
Always training. Could they have seen this differently than maybe what Tim had seen and saying, hey, this may have gone too far?
Definitely. I can't speak to what they individually would perceive. I would never want to do it. I could never do what Tim does. I could never do what these women do.
Shopaholic, they're really sidestepping that and making excuses saying for protection reasons and, to not blow their undercover ops. But we're going to do some other videos from Eric, one of the ops, and some of the other guys that were on these ops with him. Probably we'll do one tomorrow. Especially Jimmy Rex. Because his accounts of what happened and what he was a part of totally blow huge holes in this. Like, there's just so much to unpack here, y'all. Like, that's why I'm still sitting here going, wait a second. Some of this, what? A lot of not making sense. A lot of nonsense.
I would never want to do that. And I can't speak to their...
Aurora, good question. And their henna tattoos too. We're going to get into all that too, because the excuses that he made of the reason. But yet in other interviews, he said that there is no possibility of physical contact ever. So the excuse for the picture, in his own words, I'm not quoting, but was something, I'm paraphrasing what he said, was they took the picture, the tattoo artist, I think he named her Katie, took the picture, their henna tattoos, so they're not permanent. So he was laid out asleep after she was giving him these tattoos. And then she took photos of him and sent them to other people so they would have them in the file. Don't run Bella over.
Get out. Go.
Why?
Well, because I'm going to run her over again. Okay.
Okay, no. Kyle's letting everybody
How
in.
do I know if the lasagna's done?
I just told Kenzie to take it out.
Oh, we did.
Okay, good.
It's done?
Yeah, you guys are good.
Sorry.
Now I forgot what I'm saying. Oh, he stated that the pictures Katie sent were so that if he had to go back into that same, yes, Aurora, of course, absolutely. So John Delenn, Mormon podcast stories, amazing. Radio Free Mormon, amazing. Mormonism podcast, or Mormonish podcast, amazing. On Twitter or X, whatever you guys prefer to call it, that would be really good for Tim Ballard Exposed. So those are all great channels that are covering this and do excellent jobs. Oh, Nuance Ho. Kara is amazing too. Nuance Ho is really good. Another channel that I love with the stuff they're not really covering this in-depthly, Nemo the Mormon. I got to give Nemo a shout out because he's very factual and I really appreciate his take on things. And then one more while I'm on my ramble of probably some of my top Mormon coverage. On the other side of things, the Fair Mormon. I do like to listen to all sides. Oh, Jordan and McKay. Yeah, there's some things there's some things I don't necessarily agree with them. But I do like most of their content. They're very factual. But I really, really do like the take that Fair Mormon does have. Fair Mormon has some really good ones. Oh, and there's another guy too. Radio Free Mormon's amazing. I really like him. Shit. Oh, I'll think about it in a minute. It's not as common. Well, the name isn't. I'm trying to think. It'll come to me and then I'll tell you guys. But those are some of my favorite ones to follow that have been doing a great job on this. Crap, who's the other? There's another current Mormon who's just very factual basis, he's a Mormon historian. One of you guys might know who I'm talking about. It'll come to me in a minute or I'll find it and then I'll share it.
I only have met a couple of them actually, but I can't speak to what they would think or what they would expect.
That's another good one. I'm not as familiar with them. I just stumbled across their page yesterday actually, but I really liked one of the videos that I saw. Oh, and shyster. It's a husband and a wife. She's blonde. He's got dark hair. They're younger. Dang it. There's actually a lot of good channels. It'll come to me sooner or later, but we're going to continue on this. Sorry. Yeah, but feel free to drop channels on either side. If you're Mormon and you want us to know your favorite Mormon channels to follow that are factual content, feel free to put it in the comments. I have no problem with that. It's all about knowledge is power. I'm
grateful for the men and women that are willing to go into these dark places and rescue children. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
It's dark.
Katherine, did the women who were involved in this, were they employees of Operation Underground Railroad? And did they volunteer to do this because, like Tim, they wanted to save these children?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, and maybe since I don't know the exact answer, maybe I'm not qualified to speak to this, I think it was a mixed as far as who was an employee and who was contract. Mm-hmm. And they knew what they were doing because there was training. I came one day at the end of one of the trainings when they were talking about how to
pull this off.
Yeah. And not everybody.
Ward Radio is the other one.
Made it through training. There were a couple times when,
hey y'all, oh lovely.
Tim was propositioned during a training, like, hey, here's my hotel card. Mm-hmm. And Tim would call and his assistants and say, they're out. That it's a very confusing, dark world and ugly. And I don't know how they do it. I'm grateful that all these children, thousands of children have been saved. Thousands of perpetrators have been arrested. The method and the means is tough to look at.
I've got to take a quick break, and then we'll have just a few minutes on the other side. Can you stay for one more break?
Sure.
All right. More coming up here on the Rod Arquette Show, Utah's Talk Radio, 105.9 KNRS.
All right. They're almost done. We're going to finish this one, and then we will be done for the night. I'm trying to remember. Cults to Consciousness. Oh, you're talking cults to consciousness, not cults of consciousness, right? Cult of consciousness. Are you talking cults to consciousness? She's really good. Damn it. I'm trying to remember. Zelf on the Shelf. I had an N in the top of my head. Zelf on the Shelf. They're a younger couple who do a lot of breakdowns too, and they're great. Thank you, Running Bear. Smiles. Hello. Lynn Packer is one of my favorites. Oh, and the other one that I was talking about the other day that I couldn't, the name blinked on me too. Damian Moore, American Crime Journal. Great. They have a website. They also have a YouTube channel. He works hand in hand a lot with Lynn Packer. Very, very good investigative journalist. Lynn Packer is, like I told you guys, that's my secret crush. Even though Kyle has me on the big screen downstairs and they're all listening to me. That's scary to think about, but.
Like I said, these are all allegations. No one has come forward with any solid evidence that, yes, this in fact took place.
There's so many.
Knowing that, where do you go from here?
Well, like I've been saying, this has taken a toll on Tim. These attacks, especially coming from the way things were released and done, really hurt Tim a lot. And actually, we are really looking forward to him taking some time.
Okay, I just have to once again say that she's full of shit because they had been reaching out to Tim for comments on these allegations for months, if not years. He has been asked about some of this stuff. It has been going around in the rumor mills. There has been talk of this stuff. This wasn't out of nowhere. He had been sent plenty of opportunity to respond. They had been in contact with his representatives. They knew what was coming out. This isn't like this slap in the face out of nowhere that he had no idea. Now, the church reaction, he claims he never knew. But the allegations and things in the articles that came out, he absolutely knew. I just assume, which again, it's an assumption, that he thought the church was going to have his back because they have up until this point, and these have been floating around forever, and they were ignored. But he continues to run with, well, it's because I have the #1 film and it's this conspiracy. No, bullshit. You're not the victim again.
To heal. He's just been going so hard with the movie, with everything, just trying to meet everyone's demands of him. And we're really excited for this next phase in our life where we get.
Yeah, Kimberly, I meant that's the fair, what did I say, word radio. That's the one in the beginning that they're the ones that have gone rounds with John DeLynn, and they try to discredit him all the time. And he was actually really kind to them, in my opinion. There are a bunch of younger guys that are kind of that, I don't know, to each their own. I'm just trying to give people options on the other side because I don't want them to say, oh, you're biased. You only know of these channels because you don't like Mormons. That's far from the truth. That is like the farthest thing. They're the only ones I can really think of, though, off the top of my head, of like, I'm trying to think of that one historian that does pretty good. But then again, Mormon history is all kind of convoluted, in my opinion, anyways, because Joseph Smith is not much different than L. Ron Hubbard, in my opinion.
To just come together as a family, help him.
Thank you, Aurora.
Heal from all this that he's done. He's given his life to rescue children. And I think that it's time to say, it's kind of a good thing. His face is too well known, and it forced him to say, okay, I can't go do ops anymore. It's dangerous for my operators, for the children. It's dangerous for everyone. And that's a little hidden blessing because I can say, okay, now let's take some time for the family. Let's heal.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I don't know how he can continue in his current role, knowing his face is all over and everything being talked about it. Has he reached that decision yet?
Yeah, he has.
He said, I can't do it anymore?
Yeah, he is completely done with operations.
Well, yeah, he's not even a part of OUR anymore. I mean, he's a part of Spear Fund now, but supposedly Spear Fund was set up to handle aftercare. He's a movie star, gonna potentially run for Senate, according to the psychic premonitions. We'll see if he announces still with all this coming down, but are any of you shocked that he's not doing operations anymore? I mean, did anybody expect him to go back in the fields? Anybody?
What he wants to do is work in an advisory role.
Mormon discussion.
He has set up so many great relationships with other governments, with presidents of other governments and other nations to help them work on their problems.
Again, I'm going to need names. Katherine, names. I need credibility. I need these references that you're dropping here because, again, this might kind of be similar to what kind of got him in trouble with President Russell M. Ballard by, he's working with all these people and alluding to things that aren't actually going on. So I'm going to need proof to back up these claims that he's working with all these governments.
Get the right resources that they need, act as a consultant to help them find the organizations that would be best suited to help their specific needs.
Katherine, I've got just a few seconds, but first of all, thank you for coming in. Thank you for talking to us today. Good luck to you and your family. Please tell Tim hello for us. We've had Tim on the show before. He's always a fun guest. A hard guy to hold down.
Yes, he is. He is.
And you know that very, very well.
Can I just take a second to
about 10, 15 seconds, please.
I just want to express to everyone, I have absolute faith in God. I love the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm so grateful for the atonement of my Savior that promises true healing. And I just wanted to share that and tell everybody to keep the faith and let's help each other.
All right. Thank you. Katherine Ballard joining us here on the Radar Kitchen. Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, what do you guys feel after watching that? Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm going to pull up one more thing from today before I end this one. I become speechless at some of this stuff because it's just so ridiculous. All right. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Okay. Let me pull this one up. This is just craziness to me. Did I play this one already? I can't remember if I played this one or if I just watched it. Anyways, we're going to watch it again if it's only a minute or so long.
With the latest on the controversy surrounding Tim Ballard, the founder of Operation Underground Railroad.
Yes.
An attorney representing a group of women who used to work with Ballard says her clients are asking for anonymity as they work to rebuild their lives.
We now stand together to affirm the truth behind these allegations.
So this is the attorney of the article I read earlier. This is Attorney Rasmussen.
Our involvement with Operation Underground Railroad was rooted in our commitment to fighting against human trafficking. But while engaging in that noble cause, we were subjected to sexual harassment, spiritual manipulation, grooming, and sexual misconduct.
So the lawyer there would not say if they plan to file a lawsuit against Ballard or the nonprofit that he founded, Operation Underground Railroad. Ballard has been defending himself against prosecutors, accusations of sexual misconduct, and his own church. Fox 13 News investigative reporter Adam Herbetz will have more on Fox 13 News later today. And Operation Underground Railroad says Ballard permanently separated from the nonprofit after an internal investigation. They issued a statement saying that Ballard's alleged misconduct does not represent OUR's values or others within the organization. They say they're committed to combating sexual abuse and they stand with anyone who's been victimized. They say their mission does not change and they are committed to continuing their domestic and international efforts in collaboration with law enforcement to rescue any and all from the scourge of human trafficking. End quote.
Hey guys, I want to tell you.
Okay, we watched that.
Thank you. Tonight, for the first time, KSL has records of a closed investigation into Operation Underground Railroad. We were getting a glimpse of what law enforcement found in investigating OUR and its founder and former CEO, Tim Ballard. KSL investigator Daniela Rivera joined us in the newsroom right now as our team is digging into the records. Still pretty fresh right now, Danny.
Absolutely, Mike. We've been asking for these documents for a full week. The Attorney General's office finally releasing them late this afternoon. There are 75 pages.
P.S. for those of you that might not be able to put the names together yet, the Attorney General office, the Attorney General of Utah is ran by Sean Reyes, who is really good buddies with Tim Ballard. So I wonder why it took a week for them to get the records. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but a little fishy with all these people involved that all this was going on for so long. And there were so many people that knew, but these people remained friends with him. And Sean Reyes is an executive producer of the movie The Sound of Freedom. I mean, hey, you tell me he's only the Attorney General of Utah.
The records appear to be emailed files and communication between Davis County Attorney's Office and the Utah Attorney General's Office, and transcripts of interviews. The records confirm details reported by Vice News during the past week, including reports that one key OUR operation was based solely on intelligence from a psychic, that during a 2016 jump operation in Mexico, video recorded by OUR shows a man who was a member of OUR's undercover team inappropriately touch an underage trafficking victim, and that one investigator concluded Ballard made fabricated and exaggerated claims about OUR's work to donors. Ballard has denied wrongdoing. Our team is continuing to dig into these documents this evening. Mike.
Still quite a bit to sift through, and we'll see what comes of this. Thanks.
Yeah, they just got them this afternoon, so that is going to be interesting what comes down the pike from all that. So that's all we're going to do. I went about a half hour over. I know I had held you guys for an hour and a half, but I was so excited to talk about this stuff. Again, I'm not excited in the sense of I don't like that somebody's lives are going to be ruined, but truth is important, and misinformation like this and how it's in a movie, and you have these 501c who have made millions of dollars, and there's actual trafficking that goes on. But we have people like Tim Ballard who want to run for office, and yet they want to talk about being heroes and saving all these children. Our own churches, we protect. And I say this every time because I want to drive it home. In 33 states, we protect clergy members from reporting sexual abuse of minors. when they are getting away with protecting abusers and not going through the proper channels or reporting it to law enforcement, and clergy is exempt in 33 states, we've got a big issue. And that's just the fact of it. It's a big freaking issue, in my opinion. Oh, it's a cat. Oh my God, I almost had a heart attack, y'all. I was going to say, how the fuck do we have mice in this house? There's no damn way, but y'all were ready to about see me. Woo, Luna. I didn't know Kyle left already. Aurora, thank you for joining me. And again, you guys, I know I'm like off schedule and everything like this, but I just wanted to get this in and talk about it because it's so important to me. Like, I don't know why this is so important to me, but it's such a strong manipulation tactic and hate functions. And this is so harmful for so many people, and so many people bought into this. And again, we've got a new current thing that OUR is promoting that just says fishy all over that we're going to get into tomorrow. We've got Eric's video to talk about. We have got, let me tell you. Oh my gosh, you guys, go over to Twitter. Jimmy Rex. We got Jimmy Rex's interview to talk about, which is jaw-dropping. So we're going to do Jimmy Rex's. We're going to do Eric's. By that time, there will be 5,000 new news articles because this is growing like steam. Like, this slow-burning train has left the station now, and we are on full speed ahead here. Like, the stuff that's coming out, and it's gonna start trickling. Like, there's many people of power that were involved with this guy. Yes, running back. It's just so gross. And then, and take it down a level. It's the exact same thing that we're seeing on a very like small level of true crime creators, people who are exploiting people's pain and tragedy for financial gain in a self-serving mission. Like, it is the exact same thing. It's just different forms, emotional, faith, like, and a lot of these people can use them all. And it sounds like the psychic that was involved with all of these visions that he had, again, sorry, I'm a hand talker. These visions that Tim had supposedly had something to do with this manipulation too, and potentially played a big role in that. That was stated on John Dehlin and Nuance Ho. That was something they were talking about today. Oh, Shopaholic, thank you. Yes, T, for sure. And I know this is a very niche thing. I mean, it's not. It's a pretty big thing. And a lot of people don't like to talk about this stuff, which is really weird to me because it's all the same thing we talk about all the time. It's just on a bigger scale. But this type of discussion freaks people out. Like, people get really bent out of shape because they think that you're trying to cut down their faith, even if they are LDS. That's not it. The bad LDS members make the rest of the good LDS members look like pieces of shit. I love my Mormon friends and basically family members to me. I adore them, but they're good people with or without their religion. Their religion is a part of who they are, but it doesn't dictate who they have become. They're good people, period. Point blank, end of story. And there's a lot of them. There is a lot of really good people in that faith. But the people like Tim Ballard, the Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, Ruby Frankie, Jody Hildebrandt. Now, Jody, I have issues with that too, because people fucking knew for years about her shady behavior. And she was not only swept under the rug, but she was paid to continue to counsel these people by the LDS Church. So disgusting. Like, so disgusting. Oh, Aurora, yes. And you know what? I don't, if you're new here, I grew up in a different, not the Mormon religion. I grew up in a different extremist cult. So religion things have always been extremely like captivating to me. And when we moved to Utah, Kyle and I have been like, I've been on this like journey of trying to figure out religion and my own faith stuff for years. So we really accepted the Mormon missionaries. We took, if you're new here, this will be interesting for you to hear. Kyle and I took 6 active missionaries on a tour of I still laugh every time I say this because it's just hysterical that we got away with it. Nobody got in trouble. The Church of Scientology. We took 6 missionaries on a tour of the Church of Scientology, and the Scientologists were trying to convince the Mormon missionaries that they could be both at the same time. It was just like the battle of the manipulation tactics are so insane with all of these high power. But again, cults don't just have to be religious either. Hey, Patty.
That was hilarious.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Functions 100%. Absolutely loving the laundry, the higher tier. Yep. And it'll be interesting to see how this weekend plays out too, because like I said, it is General Conference, and that is like the Super Bowl of all Super Bowls for Mormons. So it'll be an interesting weekend, especially with all this stuff breaking out. And if they did excommunicate him, they're going to have to confirm or deny. By the way, another interesting thing. People have been like blaming this Doug Anderson, the PR guy for the LDS Church. There's a man behind me. That's just Kyle. That they wanted to say that Doug Anderson went rogue, right? That he just ran off and like did this rogue, and it was because of his political motivations, because him and Mitt are tied together. Well, that didn't pan out because Doug released another statement and has obviously still got his job, but there is a job posting for a PR position within the LDS Church. So if you're looking for an LDS job as a PR person, I don't think they would hire me. So I'd apply, but I don't think I would quite meet the qualifications. It's posted on Indeed and LinkedIn if you need it.
Move. Babe.
Oh, stuffed banana. What?
It won't listen to me.
She's not listening to you. That's her spot. You get out of there. Hey, Scorpio. Lorraine, thank you. Yes, functions absolutely that. Yes, it will. This will be damage control. Aurora, I have pictures of it. I need to blank the faces out of them. Oh man, I have so many pictures. For those of you that are not in my members group, I showed these in my members group when Kyle and I went to the General Conference a few years back. It is absolutely insane. It's a really cool building. It was really intriguing. Like looking back on it, like we've talked about it a little bit. It was really interesting to like hear. We had a great experience though too, because we went with people that we love and adore. They were ward missionaries, but they were the best, like just damn good people too. Hold on. Let me see if I can find a quick picture. I found them the other day. Oh, I can go back. Hold on. I need to edit their faces out. I mean, they're all out now. Most of them are married. Most of them got married right away so they could have sex after their mission. And some of them have kids already. Man, one of our boys is getting married in a couple weeks, actually. Here's like a son to us. Kyle's going to play with the lights for a minute. Sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. I'll find you guys a picture and share it with you guys before we go. Okay, hold on. Let me just go back here. Hold on. What's up, Patty? Oh, Running Bear. That is something I do want to get into because that is the one religion, I'll be honest. I know bits and pieces about J-dubs, but I'm not as familiar with the Jehovah's Witness. I know the extremes, and I know like experiences of my friend that was married to one, and I know about the meetings. I've been to meetings too. I've watched or read through the Watchtower. I've partied with a lot of J-dubs. So one of these days I will get into some of that. It's kind of like Scientology for me too.
They party like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, they party like it's Armageddon. Hold on. I will find one. I just got a lot of freaking pictures on here. Yeah, it is very deep. And you know, that's the thing. Like people are like, you're cutting down people's religion. How dare you? No, that's not it. Shitty people are shitty people. They just hide behind religion to do it. It's not a stain on the entire religion, but some religions are absolutely manipulative, disgusting shit too. You can see the back of their heads. We were at the Scientology building, but that's 6 Mormon missionaries. That was a great freaking time, actually. We had a blast, didn't we? That's LDS Square, for those of you that don't know, in Utah.
Well, I'm sure they have all of our information, license numbers, and all that kind of shit now.
Oh yeah, they did. They followed us out. This is one of the buildings in Temple Square. It's beautiful though. That painting on the wall was gorgeous. It is absolutely great. And a lot of the LDS that we know, oh, this is one of the other ones. They know how to build. Let me tell you, they don't spare any cost of their buildings either, but they're also like way overpriced. I shared a breakdown from Nemo the Mormon, who is actually LDS. Like he's still LDS. And he broke down like all the family trees of like the building and how much they charge per square foot. It was mind blowing. Hey, Twist. Let me read your guys' comments and then I'm going to get out of here. I said I wasn't going to make this long. Yes, Kimberly, I saw that somebody actually broke down like the political alignments and stuff. Yeah, that's it. It was just funny because people have been trying to say that like, oh, the job opening, like it's got to be his, Doug got, and that's that political divide. Like those that want to believe this is all politically motivated versus those that aren't. So you've got the extreme right. And then those are like conservative within the church, because the church is 9 times out of 10 definitely more conservative leaning politically wise. And there is, people say that the LDS church and politics don't go hand in hand in Utah. Bullshit.
Thank you.
The little one just came up to tattle on Kyle for leaving me on the TV. They don't come to your door. They can't come to my door anymore. And I don't live very far from the Temple Square. And I don't live, or not Temple Square. I don't live very far from the temple here in Arizona either. And there's just no soliciting in our community. So I like that.
No.
Aurora, that's the boys that we got close with. They had a really rough time. There are fanatical people in all religions. There's fanatical people in everything, not just religion. Absolutely never. Yes, absolutely functions. And people don't understand the trauma that goes along with a lot of this religious manipulation. Yeah, Patty, we had a blast doing that. That was the funnest outing ever. We took those boys all over though. We spent holidays with those boys. I cooked for 14 of them. Easter, Thanksgiving, we spent Christmas with some of them. We could have gotten a lot of them in trouble, but not intentionally, but just because we let them be normal kids and really treated them with kindness and love, how they should have been treated, like how their moms would want them to be treated, except they're supposed to be obedient, so they have to be in by 9 o'clock and they can't watch movies. We did all that. Hey, Chaos. It looks good. Yep. It absolutely is shopaholic for sure. All right, y'all. I am going to get off here.
You want to say hi?
Oh, yeah, Kimberly, they do that all the time. They are the most gossipy. So I went to Relief Society a few times with some of the people, and those women gossip about everything. Like I went to luncheons and then even to play volleyball, and after volleyball, it was like the biggest gossip sessions ever. And it wasn't like what you would think about. It was like the petty bitch talking behind each other's backs about people's families and all church. Things that you would think were private were just not private anymore. It's sad. It's really sad. I'm glad that you got through it though. It's a grief process leaving the church, I can't state that enough. Yeah, there is that. Functions, I think religion plays a different role in different people's lives and different times. Like it's not all like having community is a lot of the reason why people conform to religion or join a conformed religion is because they're looking for a sense of community and uplifting. They need something to fulfill something. They're looking for something. There's no shame in that. Everybody needs community. And the one thing I will say about the LDS church is outings and the gatherings and stuff can be a blast. They are a blast. In the family, like I envied some of the families that were so close. They had huge families, and not all of them are dysfunctional like the Frankies. Like not all of them are that way. Some of them really genuinely love each other and really genuinely are good people. It's just hit or miss, just like in everything.
Yeah, the missionaries would go hungry without people feeding them.
Did you see the new stuff that came down from the missionaries, though, that they can now, like, it's all about recruitment. They can't go. There's new regulations that they can't go to members' houses. It's either like members that have strayed or new recruits, basically. And the budget for what they're allowed, their allowance for food is so low. And you've got growing 20-year-old boys out here. Like one of our kids is like 6'8", from Hawaii. I mean, just the nicest kid you'll ever meet, but he's a gentle giant. Like, and he could eat. He would come over. They knew the lock to our door. I shouldn't tell all these things. I mean, they're all way out, but they would come over. They knew how to get into our house when we weren't home. And we became a sanctuary for some of them when they were hungry.
They would stash DVDs at our house so they could watch movies like normal fucking 20-year-olds.
We ended up getting all the collections of things that they couldn't have in their own apartments. Yeah, we just provided a safe place for them. And we loved them dearly. And we still love a lot of them. You know, they were just genuinely good kids. We weren't trying to get them in trouble either. We just loved them. Like they weren't doing anything illegal. Let me tell you, like stashing DVDs, like Disney DVDs. Like we're not talking like anything pornography, none of that. Junk food, like soda. Yeah. Red Bull. Nothing illegal or like I can't even tell you how good of kids these were. And they just wanted to be somewhat normal. And some of them had nothing. I mean, it was just really sad. It's almost a decompression for us, I think, going through that and being out of there for a month now. It's like a whole new, like looking back and seeing things, the more like we talk about stuff and like getting into like the deep discussions of this, like looking back, it's like, holy shit.
I got to go back and I don't want to go back.
Yeah, Kyle's got to go back. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us tonight. I really appreciate you all. I will see you guys. And we were then shopaholic. Two of the boys that were there, like at our doorstep, like day number 2 when we moved to Utah, are still like sons to us. Well, one of them especially. He was such a big part of our world the entire time, my girls' world. Just an incredible human being, and he'll be a lifetime family for us. He's just an incredible human.
He's got a wedding coming up, and I was texting back and forth with him yesterday, actually. So
yeah, he's a great kid.
Very good person.
Yeah, yep. So many of them are. All right, y'all. We are out of here. Have a great night. Thank you all for joining me, and we will be back tomorrow. I'm going to try to do 2 videos tomorrow. I'm going to try to do a second set of the Tim Ballard stuff, and then I'm going to try to do caramel apples on the backup page. Oh, Aurora, thank you for joining us. Yeah, Kimberly, they had an awful tyrant. But we weren't the only ones. There was actually a female member, I shouldn't tell this either, but I'm going to, who lived out in West Valley. No, she lived in Magna. She used to make them. She was a single lady. She was a member. She had a daughter and a son who were adults, but she used to like go buy them groceries and like stock them up of things that they weren't supposed to have in this section too. And she would bake them all sorts of stuff and slip things into their care packages. And they would go to her house. Like we were the other family, like it was her and us that they could go to for like when they were having a breakdown, because a lot of these kids were going through some pretty hefty depression. A lot of them had been sent away on missions to correct some behaviors or fulfill a family's dream for them.
Or to prove to their family that they're worthy.
Yeah, to prove. Yeah, there was that. Oh my gosh. Yes. Thank you, Twiz. Good night, Scorpio. Good night, Functions. Shopaholic T, Running Bear. Kimberly, it was great to have you. Kimberly is in Utah, in Salt Lake.
Oh, shit.
I know. I'm like, we just escaped from there.
Yeah.
Stuffed Banana. Thanks for joining. Oh, yeah, Running Bear. And every one of them has their extremes on everything, for sure. All right, y'all. I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. If I don't see you tomorrow, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I look forward to the next time I get to see you. Good night.
Bye, everybody.